Hi everyone, I am Alexandra Huyo. So, Philippine literature is a literature associated with the Philippines from prehistory through its colonial legacies and on to the present. Pre-Hispanic Philippine literature was actually epics passed on from generation to generation, originally through an oral tradition. The 7 most legendary Filipino authors. First, Jessica Hagedorn. Jessica Hagedorn was born and raised in the Philippines and relocated to San Francisco in her teens. Hagedorn's ethnic heritage is a mix of Spanish, Filipino, French, Irish, and Chinese. The Gators, which won the American Book Award and was a finalist for the National Book Award, Chinese allied on the many layers of Filipino society, especially the American influence prevalent in the entertainment industry. Hagedorn is also a poet and playwright. Her first play, Mango Tango, was produced by Joseph Papp in 1978. The same year, she moved to New York, where she currently lives with her daughter. Second, Sunil Jose, a writer deeply concerned with the social justice. F. Sunil Jose's novels have been translated into 22 languages, and he is one of the most widely read Filipino authors. Sunil Jose's Rosales Saga is a 5-volume work that follows the Samson family and their changing fortune over 100-year time frame. Sunil Jose's books are especially illuminating for anyone interested in provincial life in the Philippines, the revolutions against Spain, and the framework of the Filipino family. His anti-elitist views have made him a somewhat unpopular author within the Philippines, but Sunil Jose's works are among the most highly acclaimed internationally of any Filipino writer. He won the Ramon Magsaysay Award for Literature in 1980. Third, Nick Joaquin. Winning the National Artist Award for Literature, Nick Joaquin is probably the most esteemed writer the Philippines has produced. Joaquin came from a well-educated family and was published at the early age of 17. After winning a scholarship in a nationwide essay contest, he left the Philippines for study in Hong Kong. On his return to Manila, he worked for many years as a journalist, and his highly intellectual writing raised the standards of journalism in the country. Joaquin boasts The Woman with Two Novels is essential reading in the Philippine literature. However, many of his short stories, such as Mayday Eve, are extremely accessible and enjoyable for those new to the Philippines. Fourth, Merlinda Bobis. Award-winning writer Merlinda Bobis started off as a painter, but grew into a writer as painting with words was cheaper. Bobis' book short stories and poems tells of lesser-known aspects of Filipino life, often from a strong feminist stance. One of her most well-known novels, Fish Hair Woman, describes a romance between a young village woman and an Australian soldier in the middle of a harrowing conflict that threatens the entire province. The Australian called it a superb novel that maintains its tragic intensity throughout. Bobbies has also won the International Prix Italia Award for her play Rilla's Lullaby and the Steel Rod Award for her short story White Turtle. 5th, Jose Dalisay Jr. Jose Dalisay Jr. writes a popular online column where he's more commonly known by his pen name Butch Dalisay. Dalisay was imprisoned during martial law, and his experience from these portions of Philippine history are brought to life in his first novel, Killing Time in a Warm Place. 6. Luis Francia. Award-winning author Luis Francia has lived in New York for decades, but his experiences of growing up in the Philippines continue to shape the stories he tells the world. The poet, author, and teacher emigrated to the US. And the last, Jose Rizal. The Philippine national hero was also a prolific writer, poet, and essayist. Jose Rizal's two novels, No Limit Tangere and El Felipe Busterismo, were social commentaries that sharply revealed the injustice of Spanish colonizations while praising the Filipino in the most natural state.
Piliin mo ang Pilipinas.
Good afternoon, I am Kurt Lawrence Estrada Pehan. The Philippines take pride in being Asia's sole Christian country. More than 86% of the population is Roman Catholic. 6% is affiliated with various nationalized Christian cults. And 2% is affiliated with one of more than 100 Protestant denominations. A strong 4% Muslim minority, concentrated in the southern island of Mindanao, Sulu, and Palawan, coexist with a Christian majority. The remaining 2% live in isolated highlands areas and following non-Western indigenous beliefs and traditions. Despite its statistical insignificance, the Chinese minority has had a cultural impact on Filipino Catholicism, infusing it with many of the ideas and practices of Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism.
Hi, I'm Rosetta Pagtalunan and I'm here to discuss, and this video contains the tradition of the Philippines. We know that the Filipinos are family-oriented and often religious with an appreciation for art, fashion, music, and food. Filipinos are also hospitable people who love to have a good time. This often includes getting together to sing, dance, and eat. And first, Bayanihan. Have you ever experienced the Bayanihan in our country? It is the spirit of communal unity or effort to achieve a particular objective. People nowadays use it to describe an outpouring of community spirit as people give all to the common good without expecting recognition or personal gain. And second, courtship. We Filipinos are very romantic when it comes to heart affairs. Serenading or harana in Tagalog is one of the most popular forms of courtship to show that a man is very serious with his intentions to a woman. Third, Christmas in the Philippines. Christmas in the Philippines is considered as one of the biggest holidays in the archipelago. We earned the distinction of celebrating the world's longest Christmas season with Christmas carols heard as early as September and lasting until Epiphany, the Feast of the Black Nazarene, and on January 9 or the Feast of the Santo Niño de Cebu on the third Sunday of January. Fourth, fiestas. Every town and city in the Philippines has a fiesta of its own. Whatever time of the year it is, there's sure to be a fiesta going on somewhere. Fiestas in the Philippines are held to celebrate a patron saint. And fifth is eating with hands or kamayan in the Tagalog. In addition to the use of the fork and spoon, eating with your hands or kamayan is another common Filipino tradition. And for many Filipinos, kamayan gives full taste instead of using utensils. Gather a small portion of meat or fish and a bite-sized portion of rice on your plate. Then use all your fingers to gather the food into a small mountain or mound. Pick up the little mound and put in your mouth using your thumb to gently push the food in. 6 is pagmamano. Mano or pagmamano is an honoring gesture used in Filipino culture, performed as a sign of respect to elders and as a way of requesting a blessing from the elder. And the 7th is traditional games. Filipino who've played Pico, Patintero, or Tumbang Preso are very lucky, for they have experienced the joy of playing traditional Filipino games. Sadly, kids nowadays prefer playing with their iPads, Xbox, and mobile games rather than playing outside with other kids.
Hi everyone! Before I go, I would like to introduce myself first. I'm Bea de la Cruz and I am here today to discuss what is the values of the Filipinos and what are some values that they have. So first, let's talk about what is the values of the Filipinos. Filipino values are social builds inside Filipino culture which characterize what is socially viewed as alluring. The Filipino work framework portrays the regularly shared and generally settled arrangement of values, basic Filipino conduct inside the settings of the bigger Filipino social framework. The Filipino value system or Filipino qualities alludes to the arrangement of the values that a larger part of the Filipino have generally held significant in their lives. These Philippine quality frameworks incorporate their own remarkable collection of predictable philosophies, moral codes, moral practices, decorum, social, and individual qualities that advance by their general public. Likewise, with any general public, however, the qualities that a singular holds consecrated can contrast based on religion, childhood, and different elements. And now, let's talk about the top 5 values that they have. First, Filipino hospitality. Filipinos are normally accommodating. Visitors can be anticipated to stretch out an extremely warm greeting to their visitors, paying little heed to where they come from, how well they know their host, and why they're visiting somebody's home. In the Philippines, Nobody lives with an unfulfilled stomach. Before they leave, visitors are even begged to bring back home pasalubong or keepsake, which frequently come as indulgences and neighborhood resort. Second, respect for the elderly. Filipinos have high respect to their older, including their folks. Indeed, even youthful grown-up still work under seniors. Hands and saying "mano po" when they shown up at their homes. Third is the generosity. Filipinos are normally useful and liberal individuals. They give however much they can and stretch out help to relatives and even outsiders when required. This is seen through the wealth of good causes, tribes, and establishments in the country, particularly when catastrophes emerge. Fourth, industrious attitude. Another of the Fourth, industrious attitude. Another of the extraordinary qualities of Filipino is their being creative and innovative, still up in the air to complete their put forth objectives regardless of troublesome condition and restricted assets. And lastly, the family. Filipinos are known to areas of strength for have ties. Therefore, it's generally expected to see various ages or numerous families living in solitary home. The family is at the focal point of the Filipino people group. Youngsters are not supposed to take off from their folks' home until they get hitched. Indeed, even after then, many couples pick to remain with or near their mates' folks. The work that most Filipino put into really focusing on one's family can likewise be viewed as one reason why medical attendants and guardians from the nation furnish their patients and clients with an elevated degree of care. And that's it! I hope you've learned something about the values of the Filipinos they have. Maraming salamat po.